Okay, we're going to get started because this is a pretty long meeting in itself. So we need to get these books. I've left some on the table. If you need extra ones, there's extra ones to grab. Does everyone over here have one? I think they do. So anyways, we're going to open up page number 1. It is the table of contents. We're going to flip on through that to the staff policies. So the first thing we have is camp staff members should not associate with any strangers that they might encounter. Disturbance by outsiders should be reported immediately to me. So if you see someone on the campgrounds that looks somewhat suspicious, it's kind of like what the officer told me yesterday after someone tried to break into my house. If they look suspicious, notify somebody. Notify me, notify anyone that can be of assistance to you, BJ, Shanna, Tyrell. No one is to leave the campgrounds unless they have permission from me. There's only a few people that I have go on and off camp to help either get supplies or take a kid to the emergency room. We hope that doesn't happen, but that does happen from time to time. So just want to kind of make sure that people leaving and coming to camp is at a minimum. More traffic going through the campgrounds can create opportunities for problems if you got kids walking through, and going to different places. Number 3, no one is to be in the water or use the boats without permission. So they have canoes, kayaks, whatnot. We have a jet boat. We don't want anybody on those without supervision. No after dark swimming is permitted. We won't allow you those opportunities to happen. So just in case you get the idea that let's go take the kids to the beachfront at night, that would be a bad idea. Any vehicles brought to camp may not be used unless I give you permission to. So if you drive to camp, we kind of want to make sure that your car stays put and not to be used unless I give you permission to use it. We want to be able to dress modestly while we're at camp, set a good example for the kids. We also don't want our kids to struggle with looking at counselors or lifeguards of the opposite sex. We want to make sure that kids can have a good time at camp and not be distracted by people dressing too scantily. I love making up words. Number 6, staff members are expected to keep their cabins clean and orderly. We don't want any food in there. Food provides opportunities for animals that you don't want to come into your cabin So we also do cabin checkups every day, which is easy points for you and your cabin to eventually earn cabin of the day or even cabin of the week, which is a really fun thing to have happen. We're going to flip the book over, page 2. We're on number 7. The staff is not to invite visitors onto campgrounds unless I give approval. So if your boyfriend, girlfriend, best friend lives in Cassopolis, Michigan, I wouldn't highly doubt that they would, but I doubt that they would, let's just be honest. So if you have a friend that wants to come to camp, I would hope that they would want to work, and they would need to get a hold of me ASAP. But don't invite people onto campgrounds without my knowledge of it and my permission of it, so that, like I said, we don't have anyone on camp that we don't know who's on camp and, eventually call the police or something like that, and who knows. So staff members should exhibit extreme discretion in their attitudes and actions towards the opposite sex. This includes campers and staff. This includes, how you treat your campers, how your campers treat each other, what you get your campers to do. We want them to do fun activities. We don't want them practicing MMA skills in their cabins. We want to make sure the kids have a good time and not a time where they regret to come to camp. We want camp to be a safe place where kids can grow, they can get to know who Jesus is, ultimately give their life to him. That's what we want to promote. We don't want to promote anything that would make them feel uncomfortable, make ourselves feel uncomfortable in the process. So curfew, all counseling staff members are expected to remain in their cabins after lights out. No counseling staff, non-counseling staff's curfew is 11. So anyone that doesn't have any kids that they're watching 23 hours out of the day, they need to be in bed by 11. I wish that I could be in bed by 11, so make 11 be a good thing that you can go to bed by then. Number 10, each staff member needs to exhibit mature judgment in his or her actions. This kind of goes back up to number 8. I kind of blended them together, but just be wise. Don't do something that can put you or a kid at risk. We do have insurance, but we want to be good stewards of insurance, our insurance policy, and whatever else policies that we may have. Number 11, each staff member needs to ensure that campers are not subject to hazing, ridicule, threat, and or excessive physical exercise. So you have a kid named Johnny, and Johnny is just going crazy, and he's not listening to you. And so you're like, Johnny, if you don't stop acting crazy, I'm going to make you do 27 push-ups. We don't want to promote that. We'll go through the disciplinary actions later on, but you see a kid, Johnny, this time is having trouble finding friends in his cabin, and all the other boys are making fun of him. We need to get that to stop. We want it to be a good environment for kids to, like I said, have a good time. We want them to sign up. I've got kids that have now become adults that they're aunts and uncles who rave about camp 25 years ago that when they went, and that's why they sign up their younger niece or nephew or their child, because they trust us, because they had a good time 25 years ago, which 25 years ago is a long time. So also, campers, number 12, should not be deprived of sleep, food, or placed alone. We want to make sure that kids are getting enough sleep. We'll make sure that they're eating. So there may be a child or two that really enjoys food, and you know that. You can't be like, hey, you're not getting any food today, or you're not getting seconds, or, well, that's another thing. But to withhold any kind of food from them, from their initial meal and what they need to have in order to participate in the way that you and they would want to participate, they need to be eating. And then you don't want to leave a kid, hey, you're in timeout, you stay in the lodge, we're going to go swim. Like, that's a bad idea. Don't do it, please. Now, saying, okay, you might have to sit out 5 minutes during the swim time. But as long as they're with you and doing that timeout, that's what we want to have happen. Pre-camp responsibilities, the first one, we're meeting that right now by attending the all-staff training. Second one, do the pre-camp assignments required by all staff members. So if you still need to get to me any background check waivers or Department of Child and Family Services backgrounds, we need to have those in. So that's very important. Lastly, pray for yourself, the campers, and the staff. We need to bathe this thing in prayer. If we want the Lord to work, we need to pray that the Lord will show up and that we will be open to His Spirit moving in the lives of our kids, and that they would ultimately give their life to Him. I'm going to go on to page 5. These are some critical responsibilities and to ensure that you'll have a good time and that your kids will have a good time. Learn the names of your campers. Pretty crucial. If you go into pronunciation, you have a kid that you don't know you can't make out their name, ask them. Don't call them by the wrong name all week, and then Friday they go off on you and say, my name is this. Can you start saying my name? Make sure you're saying their name correctly. It means a lot. Although you don't have your campers' names now, start praying for your campers. You're going to have 8 of them. Pray for them. And as a total, we want to have 96 there. Pray for the 96. Attend all regular staff meetings at 7 a.m. for prayer and discussion. So every morning we're going to get together, 7 o'clock. We're going to sneak out of our cabins. We're going to meet. We're going to pray. We're going to talk about what's been going on and how we can better serve you throughout the day. And we don't accept 7:01. So if you're there at 7:01, Yeah, we'll probably already send someone back for you by 7, I don't even know, but please be there on time. Number 4, consult with your unit leader concerning your regular behavior problems and refer camper to him or her when necessary. So the unit leaders are BJ and Shanna, if you can raise your hand so that everyone knows who you are. BJ, Shanna. They're married, okay? They have kids. They know how to discipline. Let them help you in times of need. Number 5, fill in camper spiritual surveys accurately and completely and turn them into your unit leader. So we will give you some spiritual surveys. We need you to be as honest as possible, and the only way that you can be as honest as possible is building relationships with your kids throughout the week. Finding out, okay, Chaz probably doesn't have a relationship with the Lord. I'm going to recommend that we continue to visit him, and we recommend to continue to get him to come to club. Stacy came to know Christ this week. Really excited. We'd like to see her be in a Bible study, go to club, meet regularly with someone from their club. So that's kind of how we want it filled out. I know there's going to be some kids that you're going to struggle with getting the form filled out, but try to go above and beyond. Maybe you take 4 of your kids, your co-counselor takes the other 4, and you just say, you just really pour in, but and aid each other in those spiritual surveys so that they get filled out correctly. That's the great thing about our camp is that we go there, we bring the kids from our neighborhood, we come back, and we can still serve them, we can still minister to them, we can still disciple them, and see them grow. There's some people sitting around us right now that were part of that, so that's a beautiful thing to see that come to fruition. Number 6, be responsible for on-time attendance of your campers at all required activities. If you have free time, you can show up wherever, however you want, anytime you want, okay? But if you need to be at the speedboat because you only have one session and the whole week at the speedboat, it's critical that you get to the speedboat on time. Any delayed time will delay the camper's experience, and we want them to all experience camp fully. So make sure you're at events on time. Let's see, number 7, during group meetings and meals, sit with the cabin members. So we will have tables that have the names that you come up with later for your teams, or cabins, I guess. You'll have a cabin name. And we'll have that set up for you so that you all sit together. Every activity, everything that we do, we want to enable you to build relationships so that you can fully minister to your kids. Number 8, introduce those campers to make who make a decision to Christ to your unit leader. So either BJ or Shanna. Hey, BJ, DeMarcus came to know the Lord yesterday during our cabin time. We're really excited. That just helps us follow up and gives us more information that we can better serve that child. 9, endeavor to lead each unconverted camper to an understanding of the gospel. We want the kids, whether or not they make a decision to follow Christ, to know the gospel. It's critical. Life-saving message. They need to know it. Whether they believe it yet, we want them to. But whether or not they do or not, we want them to know it. Number 10, know the whereabouts of the campers in your cabin at all times. So Johnny wants to go on the other side of camp to get a basketball so he can play basketball in the water. Bad idea. Know where your kids are at all times. We would hate to see a kid wander off, fall in the water, wander off, get lost in the woods. It's just it'd be a tough scenario to deal with. So know where your kids are and you won't have to worry about it. I'm going to flip the page. We're going to go to our schedule time. Let me see here. Actually, you know what? We're not even going to go to our schedules yet. And I did forget to mention one thing. If you look on the front of your manual, it'll say the voice. And that's the theme of camp, the voice. And so we're going to be talking about the voice of God all week. And that'll lead up to Thursday being our big gospel push night. And so that's kind of the theme. And I've already said this once already, but the purpose of camp is to get kids out of the city. We can read. Every morning I wake up, and this is what I do, good, bad, or whatever. I read the Trib, and I see what's happened the night before, and it's heartbreaking. And so if we can get the kids out for even a day, even 6 days, 5 days for camp, it's a great thing. Get them away from tough times, let them focus on spiritual things a little bit more than what they've been able to because of different situations at home. That's a good thing. And of course, the biggest purpose, biggest goal of camp is that we see kids make decisions to follow Christ. That's why we do what we do. That's why a lot of people give to camp, and that's why we're able to give kids such a discounted rate to come to camp. So we're going to go, we're going to go to the emergency section. So we're going to go back to our contents page. We're going to go to page 33. So emergency policies, if there's an all-camp emergency, fire, lost swimmer, camper, or severe weather, the bell will ring many times. They have this huge bell. And in the scheduling times, we'll use the bell to ring once or twice to let you know that you need to move from each activity. But if the bell rings multiple times, ding, 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 that's when you know like there's an issue. So that deserves your attention. If the bell rings many times, take all your campers to the dining hall and line up in your cabin group. You'll line up in your cabin group many times for meals outside of the dining hall, but this time you'll be in the dining hall and you will be together. We don't want to get any kids lost in the process of an already bad situation. Typically it rains really hard a night or two, and so that in itself, if there's a bad storm coming and everyone's at activities, we're going to ring that bell as many times as possible to let you know that we need to get inside because the weather's bad. So if it is a severe weather, gather your cabin group at a table in the dining hall. If there's an emergency fire in the dining hall, you're going to line up at the chapel. So the dining hall is at the top of the hill and the chapel is at the bottom of the hill. And you'll see that when we arrive at camp. From there, you will wait for further instruction from myself. The camp has like a radar service and a lot of technology, and they're connected with local authorities to help us make any good choices that are happening during an emergency. It's good when we cough all at the same time. So, 34, lost camper procedures. We hope this never happens. The following steps are important to finding a lost camper. Number one, if a counselor or staff person believes a camper is missing, they shall notify the office staff immediately. An office staff person will sound the all camp gathering signal many times of the ringing of the bell. And this says approximately for 5 minutes. So you'll know when it's an emergency and when it's, when there's an emergency. Number two, all camp and staff will report to the dining hall area upon sounding of the alarm, and they'll sit in tables by cabin group. We'll then do a roll call to make sure that you have all of your campers, and then determine which one's missing. You'll probably already know which kid is missing and what we'll need to do. So we will then use the emergency procedures area to search, and it will be activated. Staff assigned to search designated areas of the camp shall commence the search accordingly. If a camper or staff person remains unfound, the executive or program director will order a continuation of the search efforts. We're going to keep looking. Gathering additional details regarding the identified lost camper. So, every day you're going to wake up, kids are going to get ready, kind of know what they're wearing so that if a camper does go missing, that we'll be able to find them and know what they look like, what were they wearing. That'll help us. That'll help if the police have to get involved. That'll help us as well to find that kid. We will search the waterfront and the beach area and the swimming area, so people will grab hands. We'll kind of comb the area to look for the lost camper. Other designated personnel will repeat a search of the areas as assigned in the emergency procedures and areas to look plan or search plan. Other staff will be designated to search the peninsula area by vehicle, so we'll use vehicles to kind of look off the road for the missing camper. After the second search, if the camper has still not been found, we will contact the local law enforcement officials for assistance. The parents of the missing camper shall be notified at an appropriate time afterward. We're going to let them know, but we're going to do our best to find that camper as soon as possible. So spending that time to look for them is the sooner we find them, the better. If a camper is still missing after 2 hours, the State of Michigan Family Independence Agency and the assigned camp licensing consultant will be contacted and apprised of the situation. So if we were to sum it all up, you need to act quickly, follow the directions of the person in charge, and try to keep your campers calm. You'll notice a theme in all of these procedures of emergencies that you need to keep calm. How you react to a certain situation, even if we go above this and say, the boat just broke and you got to find another activity for your kids, or something else happens. You remaining calm and you remaining to be a steady, spirited person will really help keep your cabin in a good state of being, because if they're not, it's crazier to then have your campers acting out of control when there's already a situation that's out of control. So next, page 35, responding to a tornado or a severe storm. The executive director, program director will monitor the weather radio alert whenever conditions seem appropriate for a serious storm. The person will keep counselors and the other staff informed of weather conditions. And we will utilize the services of the community policing program to keep abreast of weather conditions, and will routinely notify the office when a weather warning exists. If there is a weather watch issued for Cass County, where we'll be, we will verbally notify the counselors and the support staff, and I will then keep them apprised of any weather conditions that will happen afterwards. If a weather warning is issued for Cass County, an all camp gathering signal will be sounded, the continuous ringing of the camp bell for approximately 5 minutes. If necessary, a runner system will be used to notify campers and staff of the weather warning, and campers may be distributed to safe quarters as they are contacted. So we don't want people to be in buildings that aren't safe as far as like if there was a tornado, but if you have no other way to get to a safer building. The lodge is kind of the place we want to be at if there was a tornado, but the only building that is near you is the one that you're in. Seek shelter, keep your kids safe. If you're at the beach and, like I said, a tornado is right there, pile on life jackets, put them on top of you, do whatever you got to do to be creative to keep people safe. But like I said, we want kids, if there is a possibility, to be in the dining hall. So when that happens, number 4, all campers and staff will report to the dining hall immediately. They'll sit with the table in cabin groups. We'll do a roll call, and if someone's missing, then we'll look for them, of course. Number 5, staff and campers will be evacuated to safe quarters. The designated safe areas are Sycamore Lodge basement, the Nature Center basement. These are areas that are kind of on the outskirts that we probably won't do too much interacting with. That's why we say the dining hall is where it's at. But the back room areas of the dining hall, the craft shop, basement of the 2 staff homes, and the Tamarack Lodge crawl space. I will and their executive director will distribute campers and staff accordingly. If you're caught outside, you should lie down in a ravine or a low-lying area, protected from the threat of flying objects. If possible, seek safer shelter as soon as possible. If it's right on you, it's right on you. But if you can't see it, but you know it's coming close, that's where you're going to use your wherewithal to make the best choice for your campers. We will have walkie-talkies in the main areas, and all of the main unit leaders, myself, and a few other people will have walkie-talkies, so communication shouldn't be an issue, but if it is an issue, that's what we need to do. Campers on outpost, we've had this happen 2 years ago. I think actually last year that we're on outpost. A bad storm came. We had to go get them, and it was a wild time. Trees fell down, gas lines got punctured. It was wild. Campers will return to the main camp whenever a weather warning is issued for Cass County. The Chapel Activity Center is a very unsafe building during a severe storm situation or even an electrical storm. This building should be immediately vacated in such situations. So the chapel is where myself, BJ will be at, and any other, Bethany will not be there. Let me see. Probably, no, you won't be there either, Mary, I don't think. But anyways, any activity staff or program directors will be in the chapel area. Hopefully you will not be during a major storm. Short of it, think about the safety of the campers. Take the campers to the best protected area as directed. Next, we're going to talk about a fire. It's been extremely wet this year, so I would believe that the fire conditions are rather low unless an electrical fire should happen. Number one, each counselor is responsible to conduct a fire drill upon getting to cabins. Number two, be sure all campers and staff are safe. Your first concern is the safety of the people. The building is secondary. We don't want camp to burn down, but we also don't need someone to save the day to do whatever you need to do to save the building. We want you to save the kids. Sounding the alarm as soon as possible. How long will the bell ring if there's an emergency? Does anyone know? Chris? How long will the bell ring during an emergency? 5 minutes, but you're close. I'm just catching you up on the situation. So we will call the Porter Township Fire Department at 911 and notify the director of or authorized personnel to help us. Number four, endeavor to contain the fire while waiting the arrival of the fire department. Fire extinguishers are in the red cabinets in the central location of each cabin. So if you have something like a small little fire, like a kid got a lighter and their sleeping bag is a little bit on fire, put the thing out. Don't run outside the building. So if it's something that you're like, I can take care of this, take care of it. But if it's like the ceiling's on fire, we need to get out, Number five, be ready to direct the fire department to the site of the fire upon their arrival. So, just gonna do, let's see here. We're gonna skip the first top part of 38. It's a little redundant. You know where the safe areas are. We've already explained those. If you can't get to the safe areas for any reason, being a low-lying area, ravine would be very, very helpful. And we want you to preferably be in the dining area, dining lodge. Serious accident. Notify the camp director and camp nurse immediately. Our camp nurse has been with us for a very long time. Her name's Nurse Betty. She's very nice. And she likes to help kids get treatment if they are hurt in any way. The camp director is the one who is responsible for making decisions in situations involving serious accidents. Say they're on the boat and the boat driver goes in circles, figure eights, and their arm gets dislocated. We want to fix that. We don't want you to reset an arm back into the socket. We don't want you to do that. We want to take them to the hospital and let the doctor do that, okay? If they get a cut and it won't stop bleeding, if it's bleeding at all, we want to put a Band-Aid on it. We want to help the kid have a good time, and by that, giving them first aid or taking them to the hospital is going to that's going to enable them to have a better time than to let those things just kind of fester. In the meantime, let's see, do what you feel in good judgment would dictate, remembering that we are subject to certain controls and legal aspects placed upon us by the state and federal law. Do not involve yourself in first aid and or similar situation or decisions and activities unless you are qualified and certified for treatment that you are given to the injured person. All the full-time staff at ICI were trained in first aid and CPR for this year, so we can do that. If you're not, get it to Nurse Betty. Like I said, all of us, me, BJ, Shanna, will all have walkie-talkies. There'll be one at the dining hall. We'll have one with Nurse Betty. Whenever Nurse Betty's at the beach, whenever there's beach time. So if you're at the beach, she can take care of you right there. If she doesn't have the things to take care of the situation there, they'll take you up to her huts and she'll take care of you from there.